at the Rugby World Cup in Japan. And 2019 in athletics, from the World Athletics Championships to a one-on-one with Ugandan champion Joshua Cheptegei. Welcome to the program. Now, Egypt is still smarting from rescuing the continent's biggest football competition, the Africa Cup of Nations, after a disastrous handling of the tournament rights by the Confederation of African Football. But the controversy did not stop Algeria from lifting their first title in 3 decades. Here is CGTN's Sadiq Shaban to get us underway.
The 2019 Africa Cup of Nations controversy began with Cameroon getting stripped of the hosting rights earlier in the year, forcing African football managers to make alternative arrangements for a new host.
Cameroon is around 75–80% this year. 1 year working hard and very closely with the CAF, they can finish all this.
The Confederation of African Football settled on Egypt as a compromise candidate, and the North African nation had just 6 months to host the continent's biggest football tournament. Thousands of fans thronged venues across the country as 24 teams battled for supremacy. Senegal played Algeria in the final of the competition. Algeria went on to win the tournament by a solitary goal scored by Riyad Mahrez, winning the title for the first time since 1990. But it was not just about the winners. Teams like Madagascar, who made their debut and went all the way to the last 8, defined the untapped potential of the football minnows in the continent. Egypt hosted the tournament at a challenging period when insecurity had become a concern for visitors and football fans alike.
It's been amazing, you know, the way you're treated, the fans have fan IDs, of course the journalists have accreditation, so you get a feeling that, you know, it's safe, you know, to be inside the stadium. And also the feel that, you know, once we have 24 teams, you know, it's a whole party. There've been good surprises on the pitch, so for me I think the organization has been great.
Cameroon, I mean, they have their work cut out for them. I mean, having infrastructure for 24 teams is no easy feat. And even the local organizing committee say that they have been having their challenges, but Egypt have been up to the challenge, and I think they've hosted a good tournament.
A new chapter of the expanded Africa Cup of Nations has now been ushered, expected to light up opportunities for minnows in the coming future.
Algeria was the best team of the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. They went undefeated in the tournament, winning 6 matches, drawing only once and scoring 13 goals. An impressive performance worthy of an expanded 24-nation tournament and their first AFCON title since 1990. Sadiq Shaban, CGTN, in Cairo, Egypt.
Well, Cameroon will host the 33rd edition of the Africa Cup of Nations due in June 2021, when they will be hoping to win their 6th title. Egypt remains the most successful nation with 7 titles to date. Here are the winners now of the previous editions of the African Nations Cup. You're watching Sports Scene. We're taking a short break. Here's what's coming up. We take a look back at South Africa's astounding run to victory at the Rugby World Cup in Japan.
How would you create your legend? On the fields, on the tracks, in the arenas of Africa. Were you born to be a player? Could this moment be yours? Sports Scene. Find your game.
Welcome back. Well, it has been a great year for South African rugby after their national 15-a-side team won the 2019 Rugby World Cup in Japan. The Springboks beat England by 32-12 to win their third Webb Ellis Cup. CGTN Sadiq Shaban looks back at the tournament.
It was a Rugby World Cup of its kind. The first global rugby tournament in Asia since 1987 and arguably the biggest tournament in the history of the competition. There was high expectation that despite having only 2 teams out of 20 in the competition, Africa was going to make positive headlines in the Rugby World Cup.
There's only 2 million people in the whole of Namibia, so it must be one of the smallest countries that actually are represented here at the World Cup.
2 brothers, this is exactly why we came, to support our brothers but also compete against them. I'm sad to say that I don't think our little brother is going to survive us. But, you know, it's all about the sportsmanship and the spirit, that's why we're here.
History was written when South Africa and Namibia became the first African nations to play Rugby World Cup for the first time in Asia. It was Namibia's 5th straight World Cup appearance, while for South Africa, the World Cup grounds had become some sort of a hunting ground. A loss to the 2015 champions New Zealand in their opening match awakened the Springboks, who gallantly fought their way to the final. Namibia, on the other hand, lost all their matches in the competition, but their supporters had seen something special coming.
I think looking at how the African teams are performing, I think the opportunity really exists that the World Cup will come back again to Africa. The guys are really doing great, the spirits are high, so we were really hoping to see that Africa takes on the World Cup one more time.
And not a moment too soon, South Africa bulldozed their way to the final match against England, beating the 2003 champions 32-12 in the final match in Yokohama to lift the coveted Webb Ellis Cup for only the 3rd time in their history.
We know how many people didn't give us a chance, but we had to believe in each other as a team and the people around and the plan. And, you know, he kept on telling us how good we are. But, you know, and it drove us to work hard and it drove us to places we haven't been before. And, yeah, it was special for all of us. And I've never seen such support from our people back at home. And I honestly don't think we could have done it without them, you know.
The victory united South Africa as the Rainbow Nation came together to celebrate their team's exemplary performance in the Rugby World Cup. The celebrations continued for days across the country and around the world, cementing South Africa's status as 3 times World Rugby champions and projecting Africa as the home of World Rugby for the next 4 years. Sadiq Shaban, CGTN.
Well, the man you just saw there, Kolisi, has had an incredible 2019. On top of his Rugby World Cup triumph, he was named Champion of the Year at the Peace and Sport Award Gala, which looks to recognize athletes that have led a significant and sustainable sport initiative towards peaceful change. CGTN CS du Plessis takes a look at the year that changed the Springbok captain's life forever.
It is incredible to think how Kolisi's life has changed since he was selected to lead South Africa at the 2019 World Cup in Japan.
I'm really honored, and I've known Coach for quite a long time. He gave me my first contract out of school, so I'd met him before all of this, and he knows where I come from. You know, these kind of opportunities you don't really dream about, and I'm really happy and I'm excited. Whenever I need helping, I'll go to my other teammates. I'm not that kind of guy who wants to be seen as the one in charge. I'm always looking for help from others, and I'm willing to let other players lead in ways that I can't do.
Fast forward 20 weeks and the Rainbow Nation is buzzing as thousands of fans gather to witness their beloved Boks bringing home rugby's biggest prize. Coach Rassie Erasmus heaped praise on his fearless captain, who he admits he gambled on to be fit for the tournament.
For us to have him there was really important, firstly, because he's a great rugby player. Secondly, because he's our captain, and I thought his form wasn't great the first 2 games, and then I must say in the last 3 games his form was absolutely outstanding. No, it was massive important, and I must say well done to the medical team and everybody to get him through that, because it was a real worry for me at one stage.
Now Kolisi is a global sports star. His social media accounts are swelling by the thousands each day, endorsements are rolling in, and awards are coming his way. Brands are also throwing themselves at the first black Springbok captain to lift the World Cup. The world is now very much his oyster.
There's a lot of commitments away from the field now, so he'll just have to make sure that the important things stay the important thing. He needs to keep on performing on the field. He's an example for so many people out there, what he's achieved, but again, it can be another success story after the success, to stay humble, to keep working hard. But knowing Sia, he'll do that. He's a very humble guy, and yeah, let's hope he keep leading the Boks the way he's done.
Despite all his success, the boy from the Zwide township outside Port Elizabeth remains as humble as he was before jetting off to Japan. A beacon of hope for many who also find themselves growing up in townships across South Africa.
The most important thing is that you never listen to someone that tells you you can't make it, you're not going to make it. It's up to you and you alone, and all the people that we have around you. That's the most important thing. And I just want to tell the kids they must just keep dreaming and keep on believing and keep on pushing.
The future is bright for the talented loose forward who has realized a lifelong dream in winning a global rugby title. Add to that a visit to his beloved Liverpool Football Club, signing for rap mogul Jay-Z's Rock Nation sports agency, and committing his long-term future to the Stormers. Life is pretty good for the 28-year-old, who is now known as rugby's rock star. CS Du Plessis, CGTN, Johannesburg.
Shifting gears now, the 12th edition of the African Games held in Morocco this year saw a milestone for the competition as it attracted the participation of more than 6,000 athletes competing in 26 sports disciplines, 17 of which were qualifiers for the Olympic Games in Tokyo next year. CGTN's Mohamed Abubakar has more.
Following the withdrawal of Equatorial Guinea, Morocco was announced as the new host of the 12th edition of the African Games, barely 9 months to the actual date of the competition. Morocco had just come from a disappointing summer where both football club side Wydad Casablanca and the national team failed in their hunt for continental glory. Having adequate sporting facilities and resources, Morocco never shied from the responsibility, and this was a chance for them to show Africa and the world that they are truly a sporting nation.
I think the country has done well in hosting this competition. This is a good, big competition, not easy to organize, and I guess we have experience in hosting such big competitions.
The African Union and Association of National Olympic Committees of Africa have taken ownership of this competition, and there has been a need to raise the profile of the Games so as to attract the best around the continent to come and compete.
The will is there, so now it's upon the management of the sport to ensure that they keep the standards high enough to attract the best, because athletes are happy to compete in Africa. But then all the time they compete in Africa, they always leave with a bitter taste in their mouth. But then this time I think it's different. So certainly this is something to look forward to in future events.
The African Games of today is not like the ones in the past. The competition has evolved. For instance, this year, we had more than 25 disciplines at the Games, and 17 of those were qualifiers for the Olympics in Tokyo next year. So athletes come here not only to win African titles, but also to play for an Olympic ticket. So if we carry on like this in the future, make the competition to become more about qualifiers for Olympics, countries will always be sending their top athletes for these Games.
ont ramené les meilleurs athlètes.
Another key element to raising the profile of the African Games is to connect with the fans and have sports enthusiasts across the continent filling the venues every 4 years.
We have the champs, we have the facilities, we have the money, we have everything. We should do much better. But it's missing one thing, as I said before, is the communication. We have to communicate with the people to come to support our games, because these games is opportunity for all Africans to be together.
Egypt emerged overall winners by a landslide, gathering a total of 273 medals, with Nigeria, South Africa, Algeria and hosts Morocco completing the top 5 in the medal standings.
After the disappointment of Moroccan club Wydad Casablanca in the finals of the CAF Champions League and the poor performance of the Moroccan national team at the 2019 African Cup of Nations, Morocco will still look back at 2019 and be proud after successfully organizing the 12th edition of the African Games. Mohamed Abubakar for CGTN, Rabat, Morocco.
Well, Egypt might have been the runaway winners of the 12th edition of the African Games, but competition was still stiff among the other nations. Let's now take a look at the top 20 nations in the overall medal standings at the 2019 Games. Still to come on Sports Scene 2019 in athletics, from the World Athletics Championships to a one-on-one with Ugandan champion Joshua Cheptegei.
You're watching breaking news on CGTN.
Welcome to the world today on CGTN.
Welcome back. Now, the World Athletics Championships in Qatar distinguished itself as one of the major world sporting events this year. As the world missed out on retired track greats Usain Bolt and Mo Farah, Africa enjoyed watching her champions retain their titles while also welcoming new stars to the global showpiece. CGTN's Mohamed Abubakar recaps what was an exciting championship in Doha.
World Athletics President Sebastian Coe described this year's World Championships as the best in history in terms of the quality and depth of performances produced by athletes from more than 200 nations.
Chepkoech, the fastest woman in the world.
Africa boasted a number of top-performing countries, Kenya topping the charts with 5 gold medals and securing a total of 11 podium places throughout the competition.
Silver medal this time for Emma Coburn.
Their East African neighbors Ethiopia and Uganda were among the dominating African countries, with Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, Namibia, Algeria and Morocco also contributing to Africa's total tally of 27 medals.
It's a 1-2 in glorious fashion for Ethiopia.
Overall, I've been quite happy with the way African athletes have performed. Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, always been there. But also good to see newcomers like Burkina Faso, winning medals in events that a lot of people didn't expect them to really win. So overall, I have to say I'm quite happy, just a little bit disappointed that we didn't do too well in the sprint, which we usually do. South Africa and Nigeria.
Doha witnessed several breakout stars from Africa. Kenya's Ruth Chepngetich winning her first major marathon title, Burkina Faso's Fabrice Zango winning his country its first medal ever at a world championship, but it was Uganda's Halima Nakai who shocked the world when she won the women's 800-meter final.
You know, Castor wasn't coming, and everybody thought, okay, this title was going to go to somewhere else, but the title still remains in Africa, and she put on a show. And she was relentless to beat Aggie Wilson the way she did in the last 50 meters when Aggie Wilson had run all of the fastest times in the Diamond League the whole of this year and was favorite to win the competition. That was ridiculously good from her.
Harsh weather conditions were a main concern throughout this year's championship. Temperatures went as high as 40 degrees Celsius with average humidity of around 75%. But Qatar's modern and state-of-the-art facilities allowed for a conducive environment for both the competitors and the fans.
We have witnessed great performances. I've seen facilities that have been the envy of the world, and I've also spoken to athletes on the warm-up area that tell me that they're really enjoying their time here and they're in an environment, particularly in the stadium, with the air conditioning that makes the conditions almost perfect.
The organization was very perfect. It's very unique, and I don't regret coming. And more also, I like the setting up of the stadium. It's very unique, and I believe that Qatar is doing very great work.
The first ever World Athletics Championships to be hosted in the Middle East, and there was never any doubt really that Qatar wouldn't be able to deliver a spectacular event. As of now, the next scheduled world big sporting event is the 2022 FIFA World Cup. And this magnificent stadium behind me is just but one of 12 venues set to host the global footballing showpiece in 3 years' time. Mohamed Abubakar for CGTN, Doha, Qatar.
Well, one sportsman who enjoyed a stellar 2019 was Uganda's Joshua Cheptegei. He sat down with CGTN's Leon Senyange for an exclusive interview to look back on the year he has had.
It's a pleasure having you, Joshua Cheptegei. I'll start off with what has been the year 2019 for you. Tell me the major highlight for you this year.
2019, of course, it has been really an amazing year with lots of achievements, of course, when you talk about from the cross-country title in Denmark, Aarhus, and then the Diamond League trophy, of course, which was the first of its kind to come to the country, and then the 10K, the 10,000 meters, of course, in Doha, and of course what a way to wrap up with the world record. That's really amazing for sure, really amazing.
Let's talk about the 10-kilometer record that you recently broke in Valencia. Very big achievement it should be for you.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like I said, 2019 has been really an amazing year, of course. It started small and it was building up dream by dream from level to level. Like I said, of course, you know, if you purpose yourself that you want to do something and then you believe in yourself, you will not miss any step. You will just really reap what you have really put the input in. That's why this record really was a well-deserved record, of course.
Talking about the future now, what are your targets? What are the targets you're setting for 2020?
2020 is around the corner, and I would say I want to try something different this year. Next year. I've not been able to run the half marathon championship, and I really want to just go in a race and something, just do something different. Like I try a race that I've never run, where there is no pressure, and I see what I can do.
You have won virtually every medal there is in the category races that you have competed in. It's only the Olympic medal that is missing in this. It comes in Tokyo 2020. You must be having the high hopes that, yes, there could be gold for you in 2020 at the Olympics.
Well, yep, absolutely. I really don't want to miss this opportunity to win the gold medal in the Olympic Games, because now I'm in the spotlight. I'm the favorite, of course, in the ranking, and even physically or even whatever I am the favorite and I'm the well-deserved athlete, of course. If I am to continue being healthy and, of course, doing the right thing, it wouldn't be a surprise winning, of course, a gold in Tokyo.
With the Olympic medal, you'll probably become the greatest Ugandan athlete ever after Jonah Kibwa. Is that a kind of honor that you'd love to be bestowed on you?
Yeah, my dream is not really small. I really want to inspire the whole world. So I still really probably think of doing something special in the coming years. I want to try the 10,000 meters record on the track and maybe win a couple of World Championship medals and Olympic medals, and then probably try maybe in future the world record for the marathon. I know it may quite sound ridiculous and of course impossible to other people, but I believe everything is really possible, and perhaps I live to my dream of becoming the greatest distance athlete of all time. That would be my honor for sure, yeah, absolutely.
Meanwhile, South Africa returned from the World Championships in Doha after their worst performance since the Osaka 2007 edition, without a single medal to show for their efforts. The national team was unable to seal a place on the podium, with multiple athletes narrowly missing out on medals on the 10-day showpiece. Sprinter Akani Simbine finished fourth in the men's 100 meters final and anchored the South African relay team to fifth place in the 4x100 meters final. In the men's long jump, defending champion Luvo Manyonga and Ruswal Samai both put up fights before settling for fourth and fifth positions, respectively.
Just have to continue on what I do best, you understand, and just go back to 2017 and just compare 2017, 2018, 2019, just put them all together and see what did I lack of, you understand. And next year is an important year for me. I lost my medal 2016 with 1 centimeter, so I hope next year I'll get my gold medal.
To be a world champion, Olympic champion is the ultimate dream, you know. To be number one in the world is the ultimate dream, and that's what I'm working towards, you know. That's what I'm working to, you know, and that's something I know will come. And I'm more motivated now, knowing that I'm that close to the podium, and that means if I'm that close to the podium, I'm that close to being world champion or Olympic champion.
And that's all we have for you on this, the final edition of Sports Scene in 2019. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, you can always send your feedback to the contacts on your screen now and give us a follow on our digital media platforms. I'm Mahia Mutua from myself and everyone here. Thanks for watching and happy holidays.